All right, so today we're going to be doing a deep dive on preparing for a Cloak Room Attendant interview,
hmm
which, if you're thinking about going for one of these jobs, it means you're really going to be that first face of hospitality,
hmm
that person making sure the guests feel welcome and that their belongings are safe and secure. It's a little bit more than just hanging coats, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's a really interesting mix of customer service skills organization and even some security awareness. You think about it like you are creating that smooth experience, that positive experience right from when that person walks in the door.
Exactly. And we have some really great information from RoleCatcher to help people prepare. They have both a career and interview guide for cloakroom attendants. And we're also going to be sprinkling in some information about how their AI can really give you that edge in your job search.
Yeah, we're going to really dig into those common questions that come up in these interviews, give you some strategies that'll really make you stand out, and even share some insider tips from that career guide to make you shine.
Okay, so let's just jump right in. One of the first questions you might get is, tell us about your previous experience working as a cloakroom attendant. But you might not have had that exact job title before, have you?
Right, and that's totally fine. What they're really trying to figure out is what experience you have with things like handling those customer interactions, managing items, maybe even dealing with transactions. Think about any time you've worked with the public or had to organize things or handle money, even in casual settings.
Okay, so like even if you volunteered at a coat check for like a school event, you had to keep track of all those coats, make sure they got matched with the right tickets and that everyone got the right one back at the end of the night. That's definitely relevant experience. So tell a story about that that shows how responsible you are and how you're service oriented.
And they might even ask you a follow-up question like, well, how did you handle it if someone lost their ticket? So this is your chance to really show off those problem-solving skills. Did you have a system for identifying coats? Did you stay calm and work to find a solution?
It's really all about showing that you can think on your feet and stay positive even when things get a little bit crazy. And speaking of crazy, the interviewer might ask, how do you ensure the safety and security of all the items that get left in the cloakroom?
This is where you really want to emphasize your attention to detail. Now, the RoleCatcher Career Guide mentions that these days, digital ticketing systems are becoming more common. So imagine saying something to the interviewer like, I've used digital ticketing systems before, and I understand how they can help improve security and organization. That shows them that you're forward thinking and comfortable with technology.
And even if they use a traditional system at the cloakroom where you're interviewing,
Mm.
you can still make a really good impression. Talk about clear labeling,
Yeah.
organizing everything by those ticket numbers, and always keeping a watchful eye on the cloakroom area. Show them that you're not just going to like throw coats on a rack and forget about them.
Oh, for sure. And you can bet that they're going to ask you about those peak times. Like they might say, okay, so how would you prioritize tasks when the cloakroom is super busy, like during rush hour?
Yeah, and that career guide also highlights that evening and weekend shifts are pretty common in these jobs. So you just know it's going to get hectic sometimes. So explain how you'd handle that influx of guests, how you would prioritize all the different tasks, and how you'd keep things running smoothly. Maybe you would have a system for quickly grabbing coats based on those ticket numbers, or you'd organize the space in a really efficient way.
And don't forget to mention that you'd keep a positive attitude and deliver great customer service even when you're under pressure. You're representing the venue after all. And a friendly face makes a world of difference.
Okay, so let's tackle a classic interview question that's always a little bit tricky. Can you describe a time when you had to handle a difficult customer or a really difficult situation? That one always throws me off a little bit.
It's understandable. It can be hard to come up with something on the spot, but it's all about showcasing how well you can handle conflict. That interview guide really emphasizes staying calm and professional no matter what. So think about a time that you had to de-escalate a conflict. Maybe it was with a friend or even just a classmate who was feeling stressed.
Yeah, and the key is to focus on those problem-solving skills and how you were able to turn a negative situation into something more positive. Did you really listen to their concerns? Were you able to find a compromise? The interviewer really wants to see that you can handle pressure and find solutions.
Now, before we move on, let's take a second to talk about how RoleCatcher's AI can actually help you come up with some really great answers. Their platform lets you practice answering these common interview questions, and then you get personalized feedback that's specifically designed for cloakroom attendant roles.
So it's kind of like having a virtual coach who's giving you tips on how to structure your answers, how to highlight your skills, and how to really make a great impression on that interviewer. It's a game changer.
It really is. And it can even analyze video recordings of you doing practice interviews and give you feedback on your body language and how you present yourself overall. Imagine being able to refine your delivery and make a killer first impression.
Okay, so back to the questions. Another one you might get is, how do you maintain the cleanliness and organization of the cloakroom? I mean, nobody wants to walk into a cloakroom that's dusty and chaotic, right?
Right. And what's interesting about this question is that it's not enough to just say, oh, I'll keep things clean. The interview guide suggests you take it a step further and give them specific details about what you would do.
Exactly. It's about showing them that you're proactive and that you take pride in your work. You could say something like, I would make sure to wipe down all the surfaces regularly, organize all the coats by their ticket numbers, and even keep a lint roller handy for any last-minute touch-ups. It just shows that you care about the little things and that you want to make the experience positive for everyone.
And they might even ask you a follow-up question like, what would you do if you noticed a spill or a mess in the cloakroom? This is your chance to really show your initiative and that you're committed to safety. Would you clean it up right away? Would you alert someone to make sure no one had an accident?
It's all about showing them that you're not just there to hang coats, but to create a welcoming and well-maintained environment.
So let's talk about money for a minute. They might ask you something like, how do you handle cash and credit card transactions? Now, this might not be relevant for every single cloakroom, but it's definitely a good thing to be prepared for.
Yeah. If it comes up, this question is all about showing them that you're responsible and that you're accurate. Whether they're dealing with cash or using one of those point-of-sale systems, I think that's what they call them now, those electronic registers you see everywhere. The key is to show that you're going to handle those transactions with care.
You could say something like, I always double check the amounts and I always give receipts and I make sure that all the transactions are secure and accurate. Even if you haven't worked with a specific system before, if you highlight that you pay attention to detail and that you're willing to learn, that goes a long way.
Okay, so speaking of things that can go wrong,
Yeah.
what about lost items? Like they might ask, how would you handle lost items that get left in the cloakroom? I mean, we've all been there, right? That panicky moment when you can't find your ticket.
It's the worst. And this is a great opportunity to show that you're empathetic and that you have good problem-solving skills. You want to reassure them that you take those lost items seriously and that you have a system in place. In fact, the career guide mentions that digital systems can really help with this.
Oh, yeah, they could be really helpful. You could say something like, in my experience, digital ticketing systems could be great for keeping track of lost items because you have a digital record of every single transaction. But even if they use a more traditional system, you can still talk about how you would create a really detailed log of lost items, including descriptions of the items, where and when they were found, and any identifying features.
Definitely. And don't forget about communication. Explain that you would check with your colleagues in case someone else found the item, and how you'd make sure to reassure the guest and keep them updated on the search.
It's all about showing that you're proactive and organized, and that you genuinely care about helping people. Now let's shift gears a little bit and talk about first impressions. Because remember, as a cloakroom attendant, you're often the very first person that a guest is going to interact with. The career guide really emphasizes how important that initial interaction is.
Yeah, it's way more than just saying hello. You want to think about your appearance. Is it neat and professional and appropriate for the venue? And a genuine smile and a welcoming attitude make a huge difference.
I think they might even ask you something like, how would you greet a guest arriving at the cloakroom? So this is your chance to kind of paint a picture for them. Describe how you would approach them with a smile. Make eye contact and just offer a really warm welcome.
You could say something simple like, good evening, welcome. I'd be happy to take your coat and belongings. Do you have a ticket with you? Just keep it straightforward and friendly.
And here's a tip from the career guide. Be mindful of your body language. Stand up straight, make eye contact, and project confidence. It shows them that you're approachable and ready to help.
Okay, so let's touch on something that can be a little bit sensitive, the physical demands of the job. The career guide does mention that this job can be physically demanding, with lots of standing and lifting, and maybe even having to deal with heavy luggage sometimes.
Yeah, they probably won't come right out and ask you, can you handle the physical demands of this job? But it's still a good idea to subtly let them know that you're up for the challenge. You can say something like, I'm totally fine working on my feet for long periods of time, and I'm happy to help guests with heavier items.
And if you have any relevant experience, like working in retail or something similar, definitely bring that up. It shows that you understand what the job entails and that you're prepared.
Okay, speaking of those demands,
Yeah.
let's talk about peak times again. The interviewer might ask you, how do you handle a situation where someone wants to get their coat or their items during a really busy time? Picture this. There's a line out the door, everyone's in a rush,
Yeah.
and suddenly someone needs their coat, like right now.
Right. This is where those skills we were talking about before really come in handy. Managing multiple priorities and keeping that excellent customer service, even when you're under pressure. You can't make the line disappear, but you can communicate effectively and manage people's expectations.
Exactly. You could say something like, I understand you're in a hurry, and I'll do my best to get your coat as quickly as possible. Can I offer you a beverage while you wait? That way you're acknowledging their needs and showing them that you're willing to go above and beyond.
And just remember, staying calm and organized is key, even if things are totally crazy. Keeping a professional demeanor will help reassure those guests and just keep things running smoothly in the cloakroom.
Okay, so let's take a quick detour back to RoleCatcher's AI for a second. We talked about how it can help you practice answering common interview questions. But it actually goes even further than that.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It can actually analyze job descriptions and identify the specific skills that employers are looking for. And then it can help you tailor your answers to highlight those skills.
So for example, if a job description really emphasizes customer service and problem solving,
Hmm.
the AI can help you craft those responses that really showcase those strengths. It's like having a personalized interview prep coach right there in your pocket.
Exactly. And don't forget that you can use RoleCatcher's huge database of employers to research potential workplaces. You can see what kinds of skills they value, get insights into their company culture, even find out about salary ranges. It's all about being as prepared as possible.
Okay, so let's wrap up this section with a question that you'll probably get towards the end of the interview. Do you have any questions for us?
This is your chance to gather some information and show them that you're proactive. Don't be afraid to ask about the team, the company culture, even opportunities for professional development.
You could ask something like, what's the team dynamic like in the cloakroom? What are the opportunities for growth within the company? These kinds of questions show that you're not just interested in a job, but you're thinking about your future.
And it's a great opportunity to reiterate your enthusiasm for the role. You could say, I'm really excited about the opportunity to contribute to your team. I'm really impressed with, and then mention something specific about the company or the venue. When can I expect to hear back about the position?
That's a great way to end things on a positive note and really leave a good lasting impression. Remember, asking thoughtful questions shows that you're engaged and eager to learn. All right, so we've talked about a lot of those common questions you might get in a Cloak Room Attendant interview and some strategies for answering them. We even talk about how RoleCatcher's AI can really help you prepare. But before you actually walk into that interview, let's talk about some of those final touches, those things that can really make a difference.
Absolutely. You've got the knowledge, you've practiced your answers. Now it's all about presenting yourself with confidence and adding that little bit of extra polish. Remember, first impressions are everything.
They really are. And the Career Guys actually has some great tips on making a strong first impression. Might seem really obvious, but arriving on time, even a few minutes early, shows that you're punctual and that you respect their time.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And we talked about appearance before, but it's worth mentioning again. Dress professionally, make sure your clothes are clean and pressed, and pick an outfit that's appropriate for the venue. It shows them that you're taking the opportunity seriously.
Right, like you wouldn't show up to a job interview at a fancy restaurant wearing a t-shirt and jeans. Think about the environment and what would make a good impression.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of those nonverbal cues either. A firm handshake, good eye contact, and a genuine smile can really help you connect with the interviewer.
It's about showing them that you're confident and approachable and that you're excited about the opportunity. And remember how we were talking about RoleCatcher's AI being able to analyze those practice interview videos? This is where that can really come in handy.
Yeah, you can use it to catch any nervous habits like fidgeting or not making eye contact, and then you can work on those things before the actual interview.
It's like having a personal coach right there, helping you refine those little details and project an image of confidence and professionalism.
And speaking of confidence, remember to be yourself. Authenticity is so important. The interviewer really wants to get to know you and see if you would be a good fit for their team.
Trying to be someone you're not is just going to make you seem stiff and uncomfortable. Just relax, let your personality shine through, and focus on showing them your skills and how excited you are about the job.
And one final thought to keep in mind. The career stages section of that RoleCatcher guide suggests thinking about this interview as a stepping stone. The skills that you learn as a cloakroom attendant, customer service, organization, problem solving, those are all really valuable skills that can be applied to so many different fields.
Exactly. It's a great foundation for a career in hospitality or customer
True.
service, or even management. So go into that interview with confidence, knowing that you're not just applying for a job, you're opening doors to a whole world of possibilities.
You've got this. You've done your research. You've used RoleCatcher to prepare. Now go out there and shine.
And remember, even if you don't get this particular job, every interview is a learning experience. You're going to gain valuable skills and insights that will help you do even better next time.
So as you start this journey, just keep learning, keep growing, and never underestimate the power of a positive attitude and a willingness to go the extra mile.
Well, that's it for our deep dive on preparing for a cloakroom attendant interview. We hope you're feeling informed and empowered and ready to rock that interview.